Hey, it's 4:05 and I think we can begin. For those of you who just entered in, we are recording today's session and welcome. Hi, everybody. My name is Taikum BVG. I am the director for the Creative Schools Fund. I'm joined here with my colleagues, Angela Lin, who's the director for data and research at Ingenuity, as well as Courtney Cintron, who's the director of partnerships at Ingenuity. We're going to be talking today a little bit about the Creative Schools Fund Partnership Grant. I ask that while this presentation is going, please keep yourselves muted. There will be space for question and answers later, and we can chat about any questions that you might have. Just a little overview about the fund. The Creative Schools Fund is a public-private fund. Its role is to support increased access to high-quality arts education for every student in every grade through teacher-designed arts programs in Chicago public schools. This is a competitive grant and is supported through a public-private partnership with contributions from the Mayor's Office, City of Chicago, Chicago Public Schools, and individuals and institutional donors of Ingenuity. Over the last 10 years, since 2013, the fund has invested almost $20 million directly into the schools through various grants, granting strategies, and which we'll talk about just in a second, which are listed over here: partnership grants, minutes of instruction, dedicated art spaces and disciplines, and debt. Today, we are here gathered together to talk about the partnership grant and its opportunities. Partnership grants are arts residencies and student learning experiences, including student programming, field trips, and teacher professional learning. This does require a partnership with an arts organization or a teaching artist, and the only eligibility requirement for this is the completion of the Creative Schools Certification Survey. This has to be completed by the school's art liaison, and Angela will talk about this in a minute, but I just want to give you a little bit more on the partnership grant. This is the opportunity. So if you are here today, you're either representing a school and arts organization. If you're here as a school, this is an opportunity for you to design a program for your students, which may be outside of your budget till now. You could create a partnership and co-design this in partnership with your teaching artist or the organization you're looking to work with. The fund's goal and the grant will expand existing programming into your schools. You can add more opportunities, more arts, buy supplies, conduct field trips, add a final performance or exhibition to an art class, or plan a partnership scope and sequence across school years, thinking that this would be a prototype year and then what would look like in the future years. Once you apply and once reporting happens, additional years of granting will open up, ensuring that you're being in line with the grant guidelines. And if you're an arts organization or a teaching artist, this is an opportunity for you to look at the funding and see it as an opportunity to create a new partnership with the schools with the least systematic arts access and bring arts to these public schools. You could support a school to think creatively about how partnerships can help increase arts access. It'll allow you to tap into more vendor funds and also access a more sustainable source of revenue for arts education initiatives. We'll be going through the application throughout the presentation and talking about how you can complete it. But before we jump into that, I want Angela to talk in about this Creative Schools Certification Survey and how it is important for your eligibility requirements as a school. Angela?
Thank you so much, Taikum. And so, hello, everyone. As Taikum mentioned, I am the director of data and research at Ingenuity, and I've been a part of Ingenuity for 2.5 years now. And so, one of the hats I wear is the Artlook hat. You may have already heard this before, but I'm assuming, and I think most of you probably have heard about Artlook. We're just going to do a quick overview and then dive into how it actually relates to the CSF application this year. And so with Artlook, the quick overview, chicago.artlookmap.com is what we refer to as Artlook. It is a data sharing platform that allows both schools and arts organizations to do multiple things. What people usually know Artlook for is to help find and form partnerships, but it goes beyond that. Artlook can also be used to understand the landscape of arts education across CPS. You can look up every single CPS school's arts programming information on Artlook, and that's part of the Creative Schools Survey. And on the other flip side, you can also look up arts organization information and programming across the city. And so for both schools and arts organizations, this allows you to understand the other side, look up information about programs and partnerships, and then also search and locate other institutions for collaborations if you are interested in forming new ones. And so there are three components of Artlook. There's a public-facing map, chicago.artlookmap.com. I'll include a link here. And that there's no login required to look up most of the information. You can just go onto the public-facing map and look up a school or arts organization and find relevant programming information for that entity. The two things which you do need a login for are the school portal and partner portal. And so that's where we're going to be diving into two things that will apply to you today, whether or not you're a school or an arts partner. And so on the next slide, we're first going to cover the Creative Schools Survey. This has been a requirement for the Creative Schools Fund application. So if you're the arts liaison or you're representing your school, you will need to fill out the Creative Schools Survey for your school. Hopefully, if you're in a liaison, you have gotten communications about the survey being launched. It was launched formally on August 30th, and the deadline is next Friday. I think I just checked, we have over 240 schools across CPS that have already started or completed their survey. So please make sure to complete your survey by next Friday. The survey is, I think you probably figured out, it's an annual survey that collects information about your school's arts programming and offerings. This is something that's always about the prior school year. So if you are filling out the survey, make sure you're filling it out for the 22-23 school year's data. And if you have any more specific questions about the survey or having issues logging in, go ahead and email us at artlook@ingenuity-inc.org, and I'll put that into the chat. And so my colleague and I, Christina and Ian and I, usually look at the inbox and we'll try to respond to you as quickly as possible. Additional things we want to flag is your school, after completing the survey, your school will be receiving $1,000 in arts essentials estimated around early November. And so be sure again to get your survey in by next Friday. This is also the second annual year in collaboration with the CPS Department of Arts Education. We're rolling out an arts liaison stipend, and it is for $200. There are several requirements for the stipend, one of which is completing the Creative Schools Survey. If you're looking for more specific details around requirements for the arts liaison stipend, we'll be also talking through the liaison guidebook and where you can find more requirements. Broadly speaking, it is 1, completing the Creative Schools Survey for your school. Number 2, attending 3 briefing sessions, one of which was the Arts Liaison Orientation on August 30th. There are methods to view this briefing asynchronously if you missed it. And then number 3, ensuring that over half of your arts essential dollars are spent. So half of that $1,000. And so that, broadly speaking, makes up the 3 items for the Arts Liaison stipend. And so again, if you have any questions, you can email artlook@ingenuity-inc.org and throw in that email into the chat now. Okay, so let's now jump onto the arts partner side. So with this year's Creative Schools Fund application, please also check and update your organization's current school year's Artlook profile, and this will apply for arts partners. So you can have multiple people with a login for your organizational profile. If you have any questions over who has the login, who has access, I also need access, and can you add this email address, etc., go ahead and also reach out to that Artlook email address and we can get you set up. We're also happy to do a one-on-one walkthrough if this is all new to you. If you have a list of, for example, like the programs that you offer, this should really take roughly 10 to 15 minutes to update. There are 4 main sections of the partner profile on Artlook. This includes organization details such as your website address, what artistic disciplines do you address and provide programming for. Second of all, there's programs, which you'll list out any programs that you're offering for this current school year. Third, there's school partnerships, and it's a pretty quick input of data for which schools you're partnering with this current school year, if you already have them. If you don't know which schools you'll be partnering yet, you can leave that blank. And then also including like what kind of program it is. Is it a field trip? Is it residency? Which is a quick checkbox system there. And finally, this is a really quick section. For schools to find you on Artlook, they also need to know who to contact. So keeping the most updated contact information for what we've been calling a primary education contact that's listed on your public-facing profile is really important. So just checking and making sure to update this information is also going to be a part of this year's Creative Schools Fund application. And so that Artlook link is going to be the same. You're just going to a different partner portal to log in rather than schools. For schools, if you're looking for the Creative Schools Survey, it's located within your school login. And here for partners, if you're looking to update your profile, it's going to be on the partner login site. And again, any questions, email that artlook@ingenuity-inc email address. And so this year's this cycle that we're discussing right now is really focused on partnerships. And so now I'm going to hand it off to Courtney, our Director of Partnerships and Learning, to talk through some resources and best practices.
Excellent. Thank you, Angela. Hello, all. Thanks for joining us again today. My name is Courtney Cintron, Director of Partnerships and Learning, she, her. I've been with Ingenuity for about 4.5 years now. And today we definitely want to elevate some partnership resources here. So as you're embarking or continuing with your arts partnerships, we want to ensure that you have the tools for success in really navigating the many aspects of your partnerships, both logistical and relational, and just ensuring that you're able to sustain them as well. So we have several key resources that I would like to highlight for you. Much of this information can be found on our website, as well as in our newly launched Arts Partner Guide and Arts Liaison Guidebook. Even if you're not a liaison or partner, there are some really helpful resources in there if you're a teacher that you might want to reference as well in either one of those guides, to be honest. And when I'm done talking to here, I'll definitely share some of those links in the chat for you in case you'd like to reference any of them. So firstly, this year we launched a menu of consultative services that are primarily geared towards arts partners, but a component of that is related to arts partnerships. So schools or arts partners can really reach out and ask for assistance on a number of different topics. That could be some of the items that Angela touched on, such as Artlook and how to navigate that, how to use the resources to find a partner match. That could be, if you're an arts partner, before you even get started, maybe you need some vendor procurement navigational support, or maybe you're a school that is sponsoring a new arts partner and you need information on how to go about doing that. So we can provide support there. Also, maybe you want more one-on-one tailored matching assistance. So how do I go about finding a school partner? How can I make sure that we're aligned and a good match for one another? We can also help with that. And then really just general partnership support customized to your needs. So once again, I'll drop the link to where you can submit your requests for those meetings into the chat in just a little bit. Additionally, in both of those guides that I mentioned, you can find a calendar of events. In one case for the liaison guidebook, it would be for liaison specific events, and the other one more arts partner events. But we have a number of trainings and partnership events throughout the year. Once again, some of those focus on Artlook, some of those focus on matching, how to find aligned arts partnerships, and other arts education learning topics presented by our Constellation teaching and learning residents. This year, that has a particular focus on leadership in arts education. But we definitely don't want you to miss those opportunities. So we recommend checking our event page frequently, checking these different guides, signing up for our newsletter, just really making sure, in addition to keeping your contact information up to date, as Angela shared, to just check back with us and check in frequently so that you have the most up-to-date information. So continuing on, in those guides that I mentioned, there is a helpful document called the Arts Partnership Process that outlines what you might want to consider when partnering with a new arts organization or with a school, or even revisiting a partnership, and what questions might be important to ask as you engage in your initial exploratory meetings all the way up to the program evaluation stage. And there are some really wonderful guiding questions and tools that are linked in there as well that really help you think about the full scope of the partnership cycle and some helpful considerations along the way. So once again, I'll link all of this. In the liaison guide, additionally, there's a section on steps that you might want to take when working with a new arts partner organization, and how to ensure that, for instance, they're indeed an active vendor before beginning work, and the steps that might be involved in helping a new arts organization secure their vendorship, for instance. In both guides, there's also a section that focuses on partner quality and a key document called the Arts Partner Standards of Practice, which outlines a framework for ensuring quality through the partnership life cycle. And there are two frameworks, one that focuses on instruction and one that also focuses on an organizational quality framework as well. So if you're a teacher or school and your arts partner is unfamiliar with that document and you feel that they would benefit from it, it's also a great resource to share or to collaboratively use to think about partnership readiness and what might be involved in that. In addition to those standards in both of the guides, we also highlight the Illinois Arts Learning Standards, as well as some additional standards that you might want to take into consideration. And finally, I just have one more important announcement. Many of you know that Ingenuity is known in part for its convenings and bringing folks together to forge connections, to think strategically and also have fun. And so I wanted to get the Fall Summit on your radar if it's not already there. The Fall Summit, for those of you that are unfamiliar, this year will be taking place on October 11th. It's an annual event that brings together arts partner organizations from across all disciplines with CPS arts teachers and administrators to foster partnerships, connect with each other, to eat and drink food, maybe even dance. Might bust a move out there. And we'll also host a drawing. So, bring your good luck charms and whatnot. There will be a $25,000 worth of funds given away in the drawing to schools to support arts partnerships, or arts partnership planning even could be for a potential Creative Schools Fund collaboration as well. So you don't want to miss that. Registration is already open. And once again, I'll drop those links. And that's it. Just wanted to elevate those resources for you in that event. Thank you so much. And I'll hand it back off to Tycoon.
Thank you, Courtney, and thank you, Angela. That was really helpful and insightful. I'm excited to bust a move at the Fall Summit. So welcome back. This is where we start talking about the grant application. If you go on our website, ingenuity.inc.org, and you click on the Creative Schools Fund tab and how to apply, you'll find there this page which has a link on it called Apply Here. If you scroll down, there's also grant guidelines, as well as information about upcoming information sessions and office hours. This is how you get started, by clicking Apply Here, and it'll take you to this page. This time in the past, if you've applied for a Creative Schools Fund grant, you would know that we've used Submittable. This year we're using Slide Room. So you will have to sign up and create an account over here if you already don't have one. When you do sign up and create an account, you'll give in your email and password. They'll send you an authorization link. And when you register yourself, please register yourself as an organization, as a group, because you are a school. And if in the future you move from the school or go to another school, we can keep transitioning this profile to the next art liaison or a new principal who comes into the place. So this is how you would log in, set up, create your account, and then you'd come back to the main page where you can begin your application. I want to point out two things. This year, the grants will only provide funding for spring 2024. We will not be having multi-semester grants for this cycle. This is primarily for the sustainability of the fund and to ensure that we can keep expanding on multi-semesters in the years to come. And the second thing, if your school has already received a partnership grant for the school year 23-24, even if it's only for fall or spring, you're not eligible to apply again. If you have a multi-semester grant, you keep getting continuous funding based on the semester you have applied for, and new opportunities would open again next year if you run out of your program periods at the end of this school year. So just again, if you are receiving partnership funding for fall 2023 or spring 2024, you're not eligible to apply for this round of applications. The deadline for this grant period and this program application is October 27th, and there are 4 forms and 1 reference you need. The reference over here is your partner. This gives autonomy to your partner to fill in the form and give us some context of how they plan to approach the program and who they are. You can preview the full application by clicking that link over there. This could be really helpful if you need to prepare all the answers in advance, and you can use that, copy it from here, work on your answers, and then load them in once you begin. Once you begin your application, also, you can keep saving it as you go through. As you click on Begin Application, you will see there are 4 forms. They're listed on your left. They are contact information, role of the arts, the CSF partnership grant, your grant overview, and the budget. You can click through the form. The first thing you should do is click on References on the top, which is next to number 2. It'll lead you to this page. Here you can add your reference, and that would basically mean adding the information of your arts partner in. So name of your arts partner, their contact, their title, their email address. You could put a personal message in so this doesn't get lost in the email. And this will allow them to start filling their application in as well as while you are finishing your application or part of your submission. The completed packet is expected on October 27 in order for this application to be considered complete. So that would be what the teacher fills in as part of the grant application and as well as the partner portion, which you would be able to send them via here. Once you're done with this, you'll come back to the forms page, which is tab 1 right here, and you'll start filling in the information, starting with your school name, CPS school ID, and Oracle ID. This is a scroll down option. You can find the name of the school. And the primary thing that you want to complete is that you have completed the Creative School certification. This is really important from an eligibility point of view, that you have completed your school certification survey. If that is not complete, your grant will not be accepted, and that this is being filled out by an arts liaison nominated by the principal. If the school doesn't have an art liaison, we encourage the principal to nominate an arts liaison who can complete this form. Rest of the portions of this form, which are the other 3 forms, include the role of arts in school governance. We're really trying to understand what inclusion means for your school and what your strategy is over here. There are questions about the school, really trying to understand the grant overview. So you want to know the summary of the grant program or project you're proposing. What positive changes do you believe will occur in the school as a result? Roles and responsibilities of the teacher and administration. Questions about the partnership overview. How did you come to select this partner? How do you imagine the collaboration would work and what your outcomes are? And a little bit about the program plan, describing to us the students that will participate in the program. What is your hope for student learning? The disciplines that you want to select, the grades that will be impacted by this program, the total number of students, and the weeks of the program. Finally, we want you to confirm that the student program will take place during the school day and not through out-of-school time activities. The Creative Schools Fund grant is for bell-to-bell programming, so this has to take place during the school day and not out-of-school time. The 4th section, which is the CSF application budget breakdown. This one is a space where a lot of errors generally we notice. You can request up to $10,000 in grant funding, but they have to be split through 7 categories. These are the categories that CPS will directly load funds into your budget through your Oracle ID. So if you would decide, you would work with your partner on identifying what the costs are, I'm sorry about that, and then working to fill in those. So the 7 tabs that are there, number 1 is partner services. So this is the pay that you give your partner for the in-time school programming that the partner provides. So when they are working with students. Tab 2 is partner services in terms of professional development and curriculum development. So everything that you and the partner do together before classes, whether it's planning your curriculum, planning supplies, any of those items can be listed over here. Teacher planning is the time that the teacher is putting in a non-instructional extended day pay of $47.88 per hour, including a 1.45% added on for benefits. So this is the time you as a teacher are taking to partner with the organization or the arts partner and developing a program. Costs for field trips and experimental arts learning. Experimental arts learning is anything that expands your access and brings new ways of engaging with the arts to your school. Program supplies over here include materials and supplies for arts learning. So art supplies, costumes for your final performance. It could be paper, it could be just craft supplies, anything that makes sense. And then the number 6 is again program supplies, but these support culminating school performances, exhibition and events. If you need something for your final performance, whether it's a little bit of set design or anything associated to your final performance, whether you want to put on a visual arts show, these are the costs listed over here. And then number 7 is hardware and equipment, anything that's valued more than $500. So it could be iPads, could be 3D printers, could be guitars. And this is the 7th program supplies. And then you would give us a narrative description of each budget item. So what line 1 is for, what line 2 is for, what line 7 is for. You'll tell us what you're spending the money on. You don't have to put dollar amounts in each of this. Maybe you don't have a field trip coming up in your program, so that's fine. Just write in 0 in that space. If all your funding is going towards, majority of funding is going towards partner services, that's fine also. You can put 0 the amounts that you're not using. And then in the description, just tell us, give us a description of the amounts which you have listed in the various aspects of the budget. And then you can finally submit this with a school attestation. These are 3 important points. It does say select all that apply, but we would want you to comply with all 3 statements, which are you repay any amount not used for purposes of grant, submit and complete annual reports to the Creative Schools Fund so we can understand the progress and in accomplishing the purposes of the grant, and then not use any of the funds for legislation or outcome of elections to carry over to registration drive, to make grants or to individuals or other organizations, or undertake any non-exempt activities when such use of funds would be taxable expenditure if made directly by the foundation. You just click on these as an acceptance and then click submit. This is the partnership application. There's a little bit of overview for you here. If you are a partner applying for this, you'd again choose your school partner name for this project. You choose your vendor name, vendor number, you'd include your contact information, all your basic information, and then you're coming into programming questions, really trying to understand how you'd work with the school, how to ensure students and their identities and relationships are centered and respected, and then how will your role at the school support its journey towards increased access to high quality arts education for student in every grade. So this portion is being filled by the partner, and they're getting this form through that reference form section that you had filled out earlier. Partners will also let us know whether they're independent teaching artists or an organization. If they're a 501c3 organization, they can upload their file, their tax exempt letter right up here. And then we want to know a little bit more about the teaching artist compensation across partnerships. This is our way of really understanding how the arts education sector is, and so we can find new ways to support and continue support to bring access to arts education to all schools. So you'd be giving us information about your teaching artist or yourself if you are a teaching artist, your name, your title, your disciplines, your years in education, tenure with organization, your kind of employment, whether you're salaried or part-time, whether you receive a compensation for planning and programming, and then how your organization supports sustainable employment for its teaching artists. And please describe how your organization prepares its teaching artists to work with young people, including ongoing professional support and resources. And finally, we also want to know if you're doing any additional programs in this school outside of this grant application, whether you're working on another program or you've been working with a teacher on bringing some other form of access. This does not necessarily impact this and the earlier slide do not impact your grant application. This is more for ingenuity purposes and gives us an understanding of the sector as a whole. And then again, there is an attestation from the partner where we are asking you to comply with all of these, that you have a verified CPS number, you've reviewed Outlook records to ensure data information is up to date, and there'll be a question asking you this through the process also. You drew through all of these, accept, and then click submit. So you would have a full completed application. This is the timeline for the fall application. So today the application's open. You can find them again on our website. There'll be another information session if you have questions on October 5th. We'll also be hosting office hours from 11 a.m. onwards on October 25th as we come closer to grant submission. You can just come in and I'll be online and you can ask me a question, or if you need assistance filling out your application. Applications close on October 27th. And the notification of the award will happen mid to late December. Fund transfer notification will happen in February of 2024, and then your final grant report will be due on June 2024. As you are also aware, in 2021-2022, we launched a Lollapalooza Arts Education cohort. Currently, the cohort has about 100 schools. LEF schools are those that are considered developing and emerging schools. You do not have to apply separately to be part of this cohort, but depending on your application and where your school ranks on the certification, we would be able to determine whether you can be part of the Lollapalooza Arts Education Fund cohort. And if you have questions, you can reach out to me at tsp@ingenuity.inc.org or artlook@ingenuityinc.org. I just realized my spelling is incorrect here, so I'm going to change it. But this is where I can open up for questions. If you raise your hands, if you use the raise hand notification, we can go through. All right, Yvette